Hey y'all, what's up? It's me, Miss Ruby. Welcome back to Music and Beauty TV. Today I'm going to show you guys how to get from this to this by yourself at home. Before I get into this video, I want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of this video, ChocHair. This is a hair supplier that contacted me and asked me if I could do a review of their hair in one of my videos. So that's what I decided to do. What I'm wearing is 3 bundles of their Brazilian Virgin Deep Curly Hair in 14, 16, and 18 inches. I really like the hair so far, but I'm not going to give a full review yet because I haven't worn it. However, so far it's really soft, it's really pretty. Even after I dyed it, it's still just as soft, just as curly. At this point, I don't have any complaints. So if you like what you see in this video, then make sure you check them out. The link is in the description below, along with a coupon code so you guys can save some money if you decide to get this look through ChocHair. So let's get into the tutorial, but stick around to the end so that I can give you some disclaimers about how to wear it. Alright?
So starting off, I just wanted to show you guys the way that I section the hair off so that I have a little bit of leave out in the front, and then I'm going to braid the rest of it up in the back. The reason why I'm showing you this is because it's really important that you leave enough hair out in the front to cover your tracks. My hair is like squared off. My hairline is like squared off. So for me, I have to actually kind of go back and then down when I'm leaving hair out. When I first started doing this style on myself and other people, I would just kind of round it out, but not everybody has a round hairline or head shape. So just keep in mind to leave about 1 inch out in the front of your braids and follow the shape of the perimeter of your hairline. I just wanted to show you guys this portion. I was going to show you guys detail by detail, like how I actually braid it, but the video would have been way too long. So I'm just going to show you guys how it looks in the end once everything is braided down. And I still need to do a full beehive video for you guys where I just break down all the different types of beehives and braiding patterns. Thumbs this video up and comment below if you really want that video ASAP, and I'll make sure I get it done. But basically, this is what my beehive looks like. I made sure to do somewhat of a circle. I really like doing this hairstyle on more of a circular beehive. I think that it's really important to at least have 1 braid going along the perimeter of your hair, even if you're going to do the rest of them straight back. So after braiding down and stitching my beehive, then I'm going to go in with a net. I'm going to give you guys some close-up action on how I'm stitching this net. This is another video that I want to do for you guys, like a full-on video breaking down how to stitch nets on different shapes and sizes, on different types of heads and all that good stuff. But for now, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you guys in brief that I did put a net on my hair. This is really important because for a style like this, you want to use at least 3 bundles, if not more. And my head is small, and usually when you're trying to squeeze 3 or more bundles into your head, you need extra space to stitch those bundles onto, as well as a very secure base. So that's why I think that putting a net on is extremely important, especially since when we get to the top of this style, which is the most important area, we need to have tracks on tracks on tracks, and we don't need any gaps in between. So having a net there gives you extra space to stitch onto. You'll see what I mean if you try it out. Okay, so now we're going to start applying the bundles. I'm starting out with the longest bundle, which is going to be the 18 inch, and we're going to put that in the back. I just wanted to show you guys how I install this. So I am doubling my wefts because anytime I use 3 or more bundles in my hair, I double the wefts as much as I can. Otherwise, I will be stitching forever and it will be hard for me to fit all this hair in. Doubling my wefts, I'm still stacking these tracks on top of tracks. So I'm starting off by sticking the needle through the wefts. I know a lot of people are against this, but let me tell you, I've been doing hair for a long time, and let me tell you the reason why I am for this. First of all, when I stick the needle through the weft and then attach it to that first braid, then it gives me the most secure first stitch, which is very important. As you start to wear your weaves for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, you do so much scratching and moving around in your head that it can sometimes be easy for your tracks to loosen up. By sticking the needle through the weft, that gives me at least a secure stitch on the beginning and ends of every weft that I stitch on. Now, I do not recommend sticking your needle through the weft as you sew the entire bundle in. Definitely don't recommend that. Definitely just loop around and knot it. But for those first and last stitches, I highly recommend. Also, people are against this because a lot of times they say it causes shedding and it makes your bundles mess up. But I have not ever experienced that when dealing with good hair. If you're dealing with cheap hair that has cheap wefts that are not sealed tightly, then you may experience that, but I haven't ever experienced that because my clients buy good quality hair as well as myself. So if you're following my method, I do stick the needle through the weft a few times here and there, just not the entire time. So that's what we're doing. And then I'm just gonna go through and I'm just gonna stitch going from side to side, sewing these tracks on. I am flipping my tracks. I'm actually gonna flip my tracks throughout this entire style until I get to the front, and I'm only going to cut 2 tracks. That's one of the things I love about this style, is because you don't really have to cut your tracks up, and I don't like to cut my tracks up because it makes it harder to reuse. If you guys are curious about how to properly flip tracks without making them bulky on your edges, then check out my video, Flipping and Stitching Tracks. I go in depth about how to do this properly, okay? In this video tutorial, I have a mirror behind me and I'm holding this handheld so I can see behind me. And what I'm doing is I'm stretching the track across my head so that I know that it's going across evenly, and then I'm gonna pin this track down. Once it's pinned down, I don't have to look anymore. I can just stitch, and I know that it's going to end up being straight across my head every time. I highly recommend that if you're doing your own weave, if you want it to be even. And this is what it looks like after one bundle is in. Like I said, I'm using 3 bundles for this style, so I don't want to go up too far on my head after the first bundle, because then I won't be able to fit the other 2 in. Granted, majority of the hair you do want to be on top so you can have fullness. Just make sure that you space out your bundles properly according to the size of your head. Typically, the bottom nape area of your head is a lot smaller than the crown of your head, so keep that in mind as well. But if you're using only 2 bundles for this style, which I do not recommend, but if for any reason you are, make sure you go up past the middle of your head with the first bundle, because you're going to need an entire bundle just to take up the top section of your head. Now what you guys are seeing right now is the way that I'm doing my flip over method is I'm not taking the tracks all the way to the edge, and I'm going to show you guys why toward the end of this video. So I am stopping about 1/2 inch before I get to the edge of my braids, and I'm flipping the tracks as so. So this is what it looks like when I'm finished installing 2 bundles. I went up just past the middle of my head, and now this one bundle, I am going to open it all the way up. I'm not going to double these wefts because I want to have full control over where every single track is laid. So the key thing about the flip over method is to make sure that these tracks on top are laying right on top of each other. You don't want to have any space in between if you can avoid it. So right now I'm just going back and forth from front to back, laying these tracks on top of each other. And I just wanted to give you guys this visual to show you guys what that looked like. So I'm doing the first side, and you can already see that I'm able to achieve like a full flip without being able to see the wefts in between. That's really important because you're going to be wearing this hair from side to side, and you want to have that versatility without having to worry about your tracks showing. So after I finish that side, then I'm kind of bringing the track around to the other side, and then I'm going to start doing the back and forth stitches on this side as well. Like I said, I've seen some people do this method and they cut the tracks when they get to this part, but it's really not necessary because you're not straightening this hair, you're not wearing it really flat at any point in time. So flipping your tracks is totally fine. It doesn't need to be like super flat. And even though I flip my tracks, they're still relatively flat, but they don't need to be super flat because I'm going to be wearing this style big. I'm not wearing it straight. So once I'm finished doing all those, then I want to make sure that I have enough hair left over to cover the front of my head, which I'm going to get to in the end. So I set aside a couple of tracks, and then I'm using the rest of the hair to stitch off the middle section of the top. And I'm just going back and forth from side to side now. And you could actually finish this going front to back, but I like doing it this way just because it seems a little easier to me. This is just the way that I do it. And once I get to the front, then I am just sealing that off. Now I'm going to go in with those extra 2 tracks that I had set aside, and I'm going to lay them in front. But you can already see right now that by pinning my hair back, this first track is going to basically lay up underneath that first braid. So the way that I'm doing my stitches is in a way to where this track can lay like up underneath this first braid. And the reason for that is it actually gives the illusion that the hair is growing up out of my scalp, which comes in handy as you begin to wear this style. Even though there's coverage in the front, there's hair to cover your wefts, it's not the same thing as having a leave out weave where the hair is on top of your head covering your wefts that are beneath it. These wefts are like behind the hair, and so just by sheer gravity, sometimes your hair that is left out is just going to fall to the side, and there will be a gap. Like if you're not training your hair, if you didn't actually style it and you're just kind of walking around, there will sometimes be a gap between your hair and where the wefts start. And so at the very least, you don't have to worry about the tracks themselves showing, because it's going to look like the hair is essentially just growing up out of your scalp. Does that make sense? Now, this track is probably the most important track in the entire head. As you can see, there's a gap in between the first track that's up against the hairline and the rest of the hair that I stitched in. This track is going to tie them both together. You're going to bridge that gap, and you're also going to go in through the loops of all the flip tracks, and you're going to loop the needle underneath the track you're sewing on, and you're going to knot that, thereby stitching all of these pieces together seamlessly into like one closed off piece. The objective of this style, however you choose to do it, is to make sure that you fill in all the gaps. You want to be able to flip this hair from side to side and not have to worry about tracks or net or braids showing in between. You don't have much leave out on this style, so you got to make sure that it's incredibly full, especially up top where everybody's going to see. And I know it may be questionable as to why I'm laying these tracks in the direction of my face instead of laying them backwards. But like I said, once you train this style to flip away from your face, then you're able to have a little bit more of that bump and bigness. Now, honestly, because of the amount of hair that I have in, it's not even as full as I really wanted. I could have seen myself using 4 bundles for this style. But for the sake of demonstration and actually using the hair that was sent to me, this is what it ends up looking like. I did go in and put a dark brown dye on my natural hair in the front because I wanted it to match this hair. I went in and I blended my color, my curls, and the lengths by trimming it, which altogether makes the style just look more natural. Unfortunately, I filmed myself doing this process, but for some reason the footage got lost. So if you guys want me to do another video showing you guys how I did that, then let me know in the comments below.
So I won't take up too much more of your time, but I did want to give a couple of disclaimers about how to properly wear this style. Number one, make sure that you blend your natural hair with the curls that are left out. That means that if your natural hair is like a 4C, you over here dealing with like a 3A, 3B, you're gonna need to do something like straighten your hair out, maybe wand curl it into it. If your hair is not that long, I do have some clients who wear this style who just like gel, like they may have an inch of hair, so they have a gel that kind of tames their hair really good. They'll just gel it back and just kind of like gel it into the curl, and you would never know. If you guys want me to do a styling video on like how exactly to go about doing that, then thumbs this video up and comment below, and I can definitely do a video styling my hair on camera for you. I'll tell you guys all the products I use, the process, and I'll even give you guys some tips on how to specifically style your type of hair with this type of hair, okay? But for the most part, I recommend that if you have extremely tight curly hair, try to find a curl pattern that most closely matches your curl. Then you don't even have to worry about all the extras. Another disclaimer, really, I know I already said it, but make sure that you leave enough hair out in the front. As this hair begins to grow out, it's gonna begin to scoot back, you know, grow back unless you take it out really quick. But if you leave it in for a while, it's going to do that, so make sure that you leave enough hair out to cover that new growth, okay? Lastly, we are quickly approaching 25K subscribers, which is a huge deal to me, okay? So I wanna give something away for that, so just make sure you guys like stay tuned. Hopefully by the next video, I'll have hit 25K and we can talk about some giveaway stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's a lot of new stuff on the market, a lot of trendy things in beauty. Matter of fact, let me know below some suggestions of things that you guys wish you could get your hands on related to makeup, or hair, and I'll look into that as an option for when we do the giveaway video. All right? God bless you, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for subscribing.